the system that controls your identity, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I want to talk about the unseen force that shapes who you are, what you believe, and what you strive for. This force, this system, is not a machine or a government. It's a blend of your experiences, beliefs, and the stories you tell yourself. This system controls your identity, and it dictates your confidence, your courage, and your capacity to dream. But here's the truth. While this system influences you, it does not define you. You are the architect of your identity. You are the one who decides whether fear or hope drives your choices. The world may tell you who to be or what to achieve, but you hold the power to rewrite the narrative. When you understand the system, you reclaim your identity, break free from limits, and unlock your greatest potential. Identity is not something we are simply born with. It is a construct shaped by countless factors over time. From the moment we take our first breath, we are influenced by the environment we grow up in, the experiences we face, and the stories we hear and internalize. These elements come together to form a picture of who we think we are. But here's the truth, this picture is not permanent. It evolves as we grow, learn, and encounter new challenges. Think about it when you were a child. Your identity was largely shaped by your family. Their values, expectations, and way of life influenced how you saw the world and your place in it. As you grew older, other voices entered the mix. Friends, teachers, societal norms, and even strangers began to play a role in defining who you believed yourself to be. However, it's important to understand that these influences, while powerful, are not absolute. They are like layers of paint on a canvas. They can be added to, altered, or even scraped away to reveal something new. The key is recognizing that your identity is not a fixed thing. It is dynamic, constantly in motion, and ultimately under your control. Many of us accept the identity handed to us without questioning it. We let our failures define us. We let the opinions of others dictate what we're capable of. We tell ourselves stories like, I'm not smart enough, or I'm not worthy, and these stories become part of the system that controls our identity. But what if we challenge those stories? What if we started to see ourselves not as a collection of limitations, but as a work in progress, a masterpiece in the making? Identity at its core is a construct, and like any construct, it can be rebuilt. It can be reshaped to reflect not just where you've been, but where you want to go. The power lies in your willingness to step back, examine the system that influences you, and take control of the narrative. Self-awareness is one of the most powerful tools you can possess, yet it is often underestimated. It's the ability to look within yourself, to understand your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, and to recognize how they are shaped by the world around you. Most people go through life on autopilot, reacting to situations without ever questioning why they feel a certain way or make certain choices. But when you pause and take the time to understand yourself, you begin to see the patterns and systems that influence you. Think about your daily thoughts and actions. How much of them are truly yours? How much are influenced by societal expectations, past experiences, or the need to fit in? For example, the voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, whose voice is that really? Is it yours, or is it an echo of something someone once said to you? Self-awareness allows you to identify these influences and question their validity. Without self-awareness, you remain at the mercy of these systems, unconsciously following the scripts written by others. But with self-awareness, you gain the ability to step back and ask, is this belief serving me? Does this align with who I want to be? It's like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly you can see the obstacles and possibilities clearly. When you become aware of the system that influences your thoughts and actions, you gain the power to change it. You stop being a passive participant in your own life and start actively shaping your identity. Self-awareness is not about criticizing yourself or dwelling on your flaws. It's about understanding where you stand so you can move forward with purpose. It's about recognizing that you are not defined by your past or the opinions of others. You are defined by the choices you make today, and self-awareness is the first step to making those choices intentionally. Limiting beliefs are like invisible chains that hold us back from reaching our full potential. These beliefs often stem from past experiences, failures, or the opinions of others, and they quietly weave themselves into the fabric of our identity. Over time, they begin to feel like undeniable truths. You might hear yourself saying things like, "I'm not smart enough to succeed. I'm not strong enough to handle this," or "I'll never be as good as others." These statements may seem harmless, but they shape the way you see yourself and the choices you make. The problem with limiting beliefs is that they are rarely questioned. We accept them because they feel familiar, and familiarity often feels safe. But what if they're not true? What if the story you've been telling yourself isn't the full story? What if you are capable of far more than you've allowed yourself to believe? The first step to challenging limiting beliefs is recognizing them for what they are: stories, not facts. Think about a time when you held yourself back because you didn't think you were ready or capable. Did you test that belief? Did you push yourself to see if it was true? More often than not, limiting beliefs crumble under the weight of evidence. When you take a leap of faith and succeed or even fail but learn, you realize that the limitations were never real. They were constructs of your mind built out of fear and doubt. Challenging these beliefs requires courage and persistence. It means stepping into discomfort and trying things you're not sure you can do. It means surrounding yourself with people who remind you of your strengths instead of feeding your insecurities. Most importantly, it means rewriting the narrative. Instead of saying, "I can't," start saying, "I'll try." Instead of, "I'm not good enough," say, "I'm learning and growing." The truth is, the only thing standing between you and your potential is the belief that you can't reach it. When you challenge those beliefs, you open the door to possibilities you never imagined. You begin to see yourself not as someone defined by limitations, but as someone capable of growth, strength, and resilience. The stories you tell yourself matter, so make sure they are stories that empower you. Fear is a natural part of life. It's that instinctive response that tells you to retreat, to stay safe, to avoid risk. It has a purpose. It's designed to protect you, but too often fear goes beyond its role of keeping you out of danger and begins to dictate your choices, your actions, and ultimately your life. It whispers in your ear, "What if you fail? What if you're not enough? What will people think?" And for many of us, that whisper is loud enough to keep us stuck, unwilling to take the steps needed to grow or pursue what truly matters to us. But here's the thing about fear: it's not meant to paralyze you, it's meant to guide you. Fear often points toward the very things that matter most, the opportunities, challenges, and experiences that have the potential to shape your life in profound ways. The presence of fear doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're standing at the edge of growth. Courage, on the other hand, is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to move forward despite it. It's acknowledging the fear, feeling it fully, and then choosing not to let it stop you. Courage is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Every time you take a step forward in the face of fear, you reinforce your belief in yourself. You prove to yourself that fear is not a wall, but a doorway to something greater. Think about the times in your life when you've been courageous, when you've taken a risk, spoken your truth, or faced a challenge head on. Were those moments easy? Probably not. But they were likely some of the most defining moments of your life. Courage is what allows us to grow, to change, to become the people we aspire to be. The key is not to try to eliminate fear, but to change your relationship with it. Instead of seeing fear as a stop sign, see it as a signal that you're stepping into something important, something that has the potential to expand your world. Fear will always be there, but it doesn't have to be in control. When courage takes the lead, fear becomes a companion on the journey rather than a barrier. Every great accomplishment, every meaningful change begins with a single act of courage. And every time you choose courage over fear, you take another step toward becoming the person you are meant to be. Fear may exist, but it does not have to define you. Courage does. You have the power to shape your identity, to decide who you are and what you stand for. It might not always feel that way, especially when life throws challenges your way or when the world seems to have already decided who you should be. But the truth is, You are the architect of your life, and you hold the tools to design and redesign your identity as you grow. Too often, we forget this. We fall into patterns, letting our past experiences or the expectations of others dictate how we see ourselves. We start to believe that our identity is set in stone, that who we were yesterday is who we have to be tomorrow. But this couldn't be further from the truth. You are not a product of your circumstances. You are a product of your choices. And at any moment, you have the ability to choose differently. Imagine your identity as a house you're building. Every thought, every decision, and every action is a brick. Some bricks are laid by you, and some are handed to you by others, family, friends, society. But here's the important part. You get to decide which bricks to keep and which to replace. You can tear down walls that no longer serve you and build new ones that reflect your true self. This process requires intention. It's easy to let life happen to you, to go along with the flow and accept things as they are. But if you want to take control of your identity, you have to be deliberate. You have to ask yourself, who do I want to be? What values do I want to embody? What legacy do I want to leave behind? And then you have to take actions that align with those answers. It's not always an easy path. Rewriting your narrative means letting go of comfort and familiarity. It means challenging beliefs that have been with you for years. But it's also one of the most empowering things you can do. Because when you take ownership of your identity, you stop being a passive participant in your life. You become the author of your story, the artist of your masterpiece. Remember, no one else gets to decide who you are. Not your past, not your failures, not the people around you. You get to decide. You are the architect of your life, and the possibilities are endless. Growth is not always easy, and it rarely comes without discomfort. It requires stepping out of what is familiar and comfortable into a space where uncertainty and challenge exist. This is why so many people resist change. They fear the discomfort that comes with it. But the truth is, growth cannot happen in the absence of discomfort. It is the struggle, the effort, and the process of overcoming that lead us to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Think about a seed buried in the soil. For it to grow into a tree, it must push through the dirt and break out of its shell. This process is not gentle or effortless, it's a struggle, but it's also necessary. Without that struggle, the seed would remain buried and stagnant, never fulfilling its potential to become something greater. In much the same way, we must push through our own layers of fear, doubt, and resistance to grow. Discomfort often comes in the form of challenges, taking risks, facing failure, or stepping into situations where success is not guaranteed. It's the moment you raise your hand to share an idea, knowing you might be wrong. It's saying yes to an opportunity that feels bigger than you. It's confronting fears that have kept you safe but stagnant. These moments of discomfort are where growth lives. When we avoid discomfort, we avoid opportunities for transformation. We stay in our comfort zones where life feels predictable and safe, but also stagnant and unchanging. Comfort zones are not where growth happens. They are where we remain stuck in old patterns and identities, unable to reach the full potential that lies just beyond the boundaries of what feels safe. However, when we embrace discomfort, we open the door to possibilities. Every time you push yourself to try something new or face a fear, you expand your capacity for growth. You discover strengths you didn't know you had. You learn lessons that only challenges can teach. And most importantly, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you once believed. Growth requires discomfort, but it also rewards it. The process of stepping into discomfort builds resilience, confidence, and self-awareness. It shows you that the limits you thought existed were only in your mind. Each step you take outside of your comfort zone creates a new version of yourself, one that is more capable, more courageous, and more aligned with your true potential. So as we come to the end of this journey together, I want to leave you with this. You are not defined by your fears, your failures, or even the stories you've carried with you for so long. You are defined by the courage you show in choosing to grow, to rise, and to rewrite the narrative of your life. The system that controls your identity doesn't have to remain a mystery or a prison. You have the power to challenge it, to understand it, and to reshape it into something that serves your dreams rather than limits them. It won't be easy, growth never is, but it will be worth it. Because every step you take toward your authentic self is a step toward freedom. So let's choose courage over comfort. Let's face fear head on and turn it into fuel for transformation. And let's remember the stories we tell ourselves matter. Make yours one of resilience, strength, and boundless possibility. The world doesn't need a version of you that conforms to expectations. It needs the real you, the brave, imperfect, and extraordinary you. Step into that truth, own your story, and let it light the way for others. Thank you.